Hi guys, my name's Shaun, I'm from Square One Physiotherapy and this is my colleague Kaitlyn. We're here today to take you through another live performance session. Really all you're going to need is a couple of hand weights if you've got them, and potentially a mini band as well. Okay, it's not essential that you have the mini band, but it's just going to give you some variety in terms of how to progress or regress the exercises that you're doing. Today's session is going to be 30 minutes again. We're going to start off working through more mobility, activating the correct muscle groups. We're then going to go into the main set, which will include 3 exercises repeated 3 times through, and then we'll do a further 3 exercises as well and repeat the same cycle. And then we're just going to finish off with some cool down, what we call regeneration, getting the breathing back under control and starting to really stretch out and create more muscle length in the muscles that we've just been working on. So we're going to now dive into the mobility, or the start of the session. So Kaitlyn's going to take us through the program, okay? So we're going to start off again just similar to what we did last week in terms of focusing on our cat-camel movement. So just being in that quadruped position, and we're going to be working on doing 5 repetitions, 5 slow repetitions, extending up and down through the spine as well. So notice that Kaitlyn's trying to curve each individual vertebra up and back down, and this is really to increase the movement, the mobility through the spine itself. Okay, take your time with it. You can spend a little bit longer here if you're feeling a bit stiffer, particularly if you've been spending long periods sitting down. Okay, you may have found that you've stiffened up a bit more through the thoracic spine as well. So we're now from that position, Kaitlyn's going to go with her left arm and she's going to go behind the back of her head, okay? So she's going to hold onto the back of her head. We're going to take that into a rotational movement now. You can drop your hips back a little bit more as well, so just sit back onto it, and that's going to lock out through the low back as well. And we're going to do 5 repetitions, holding it for a few seconds at the top there, okay? Working on improving the mobility through the middle part of the back as we go just up and down there. And again, like I said, it's a great way of just improving the movement, the mobility through the middle part of the back as well. Okay, we're now going to change sides. If you've got some shoulder issues, then obviously with this exercise, there's some variations, but you can just go back into doing the cat-camel motion. And again, with this, Kaitlyn's locking in the low back when she's doing it, and she's just moving through the thoracic spine as she's doing the movement there as well. And again, we're just mobilising, getting the system going there. Great stuff. So now we're going to go from there into our plank position. So Kaitlyn's going to move back onto her feet there. We're going to hold that position for a little while, and then we're going to go into our scat push-ups as Kaitlyn's doing there. So this is now we're thinking about priming the upper body, okay? And we're going to go with just 5 slow repetitions, taking your time at the bottom and then coming back up as well. Notice that when Kaitlyn's doing this, she's not dropping through her low back at all. She's keeping the low back, the core muscles engaged as well, so it's a good one to just start to activate our core a lot more. She's keeping the hips raised up as well, and she's trying to just keep her chest flush against the scapula or the shoulder blades as she comes up, and then dropping down through that. So we're now from there, we're going to go into a stretch again to loosen up through the hips, but also through the trunk as well. So Kaitlyn's going to assume that sort of runner's stance position. She's just going to raise her back leg up as well. So there we go, great stuff. So you should feel some extension through the back hip, but also loosen up the glutes through the front hip. And now from there, she's now going to rotate with the left arm, okay? So left arm through, okay, again hold it. We're going to do 5 reps each side, hold it for a few seconds. Okay, you're going to have to stabilise through that front hip as well. Again, using the upper back for the mobility, but also starting to open out through the hips as well there. Okay, and again, like we talked about, you're really focusing on good control, good movement, keeping the core muscles engaged as we're doing it as well, okay? So again, you may not be able to rotate as far as Kaitlyn, but just do what you feel comfortable with. So we're now changing sides. Again, we're back into that sort of runner's stance position, and then we're doing the same movement coming through, keeping the low back locked in, the hips in an optimal position, and then just rotating through the trunk as we're doing that into that position there. Okay, so now we're going to go from there into our standing position. Okay, so Kaitlyn's going to come up onto her knees. We're going to now just again work on stability through the hips, but also starting to loosen up through the back of the hips. So we're going to come down into that squat position. We're going to do 5 reps each side. We're going to shift our body weight across onto our left leg, pick the right knee up, good, come up into that extended position, hold it for a couple of seconds, and then just pop the legs back down. Same thing again, so down, good, come across, pick the knee up on the right, come up again, good, and back down, okay? So again, we're working on stability through the left hip, okay? We're working on activating both the glutes, let you carry on, but activating both the glutes, but also the hip flexors at the front, okay? But we're also giving the glutes a stretch on the back of that right side as well. Good. And the important thing is just hold it for a couple of seconds at the top there. Good job, okay? And now we're change sides, okay? So 5 repetitions on the same side, okay? Picking that left hip up, left knee up there, stabilising through the right side, okay? Working on the control. Kaitlyn's doing really well doing this on a foam mat as well. Again, this can move from just sort of activation into an actual exercise in itself, extending up, getting the contraction through the front of the hip, but also through the glutes there as she's doing it as well. And just take your time with it as an exercise. Okay, and then we're going to do just 1 more repetition, okay? So coming across, coming back in, and then coming up. Great stuff, okay? So now we're going to go back into just this base position, so feet shoulder width apart. With our arms here, we're just going to just take the arms down, come into a squat, come around the back of the thighs, okay? Bring the hips forward, so you should feel a hamstring stretch, and then come back up out of there as well, okay? So come down, around the back of the thighs, bottom out, okay, extend the knees, and then come up, okay? 3 more repetitions, take your time. Around the back of the legs there, good. Extend ourselves up, good, and then coming back and through. Okay, last 2 repetitions. Good, and back up, great stuff, okay. So last thing is, so we've loosened up the trunk, we've activated the upper body, we've also stretched out through the hips as well. Last thing is now just getting the heart rate going. So we're just going to start by going into what we call a pillar march, so just coming up, just punching through, and Kaitlyn's going to turn to the side so she can show you there, and we're just going to keep in that position, okay, and we're going to keep there for about another 5 seconds, and then we're going to take that into a skip as well, okay, so again, just starting to just punch the arms a bit harder there. So we're now going to go into our skip, okay, so just coming a bit harder, that's it, well done Kaitlyn, good stuff, okay. Okay, and we're just going to spend 10 seconds there, driving up, it should be like a piston, driving up through the knees, keeping those elbows bending, keeping the arms straight, good, and then we're going to go time, okay, so back in, next thing is just, the last thing is just some neural activation, so we're going to go facing forwards, base position again, we did this last week, okay, and now we're just going to be slowly just punching the arms, okay, while the feet are just moving, just lifting the heels off the ground. We're going to do 3 lots of 5 seconds when I say go. We're just going to keep the legs moving very, very quickly while the arms stay as they are. So we're going to go 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Okay, so quick feet, 5, 4, keep the feet moving quickly, 3, 2, 1, and time, okay, just back to normal, okay, keep just punching those arms up, a little bit quicker there, Kaitlyn, as well, and we're going to go 5 seconds, and let's go, okay, quicker feet this time, okay, really speed it up, 4, 3, 2, 1, and time, okay, how are we doing there, Kaitlyn? so last one, okay, last 5 seconds, okay, and we're going in 3, 2, 1, and let's go, okay, just punching the feet there, good job, keep the feet moving quickly, 4, 3, 2, 1, and time, okay, great stuff, alright, so, perfect, so we should just feel that the heart rate's beating a bit quicker now. We're now going to go into the 3 exercises, so the first exercise that we're going to do is going to be back in that quadruped position, okay, we're going to go with 8 to 12 repetitions depending on how you feel, okay, we're going to be alternating, just working through, extending through one arm, leading with the thumb, okay, keeping the back leg straight, okay, toes pointing to the ground, and just working through, okay. Try not to swing yourself so you arch through the low back. Keep the arm and the leg engaged there, okay? So going to do the 8 to 12 reps on one side, change it over, do the same thing on the other side. The second exercise that we're going to do now is going to be just extending through the hips, so activating the glutes. So the front leg is going to be straight, the same, so for me, right leg straight, right arm straight. Okay, I'm going to place my elbow on my knee, and from here I'm going to be driving up, okay? So driving up through the hip, and then pointing to the ceiling, coming back down, okay? Same thing, 8 to 12 reps, coming through, okay? And then final exercise in this cycle is going to be a single leg Romanian deadlift, okay? So going to be, first of all, just coming down, extending, and coming back in, okay? So slowly down, activating the glutes, stabilising through the hip, and extending through, okay? 3 cycles through those, and we're going to just modify the exercises as we go through, okay? So, and we're going to go in 3, 2, 1, and let's go, okay? So that's it, so just working through there, good. A little bit quicker now as well, so just working through whilst keeping that control, okay? So with Kaitlyn, you can see there that she's keeping the low back engaged. She's not placing the knee down or the elbow down, and she's just simply working through. She's activating the glutes on this side, she's activating the hamstrings, she's keeping her spine long as well, she's looking down between her arms, or between her hands, and the same thing. How many reps was that, Kaitlyn?
8.
Okay, let's go with, we'll go with 12, that's fine.
Oh, sorry.
So again, 8 to 12, depending on how you feel. I'm expecting Kaitlyn to be able to push through 12 reps on this one. Okay, same thing, okay, so the shoulders should stay flush against the chest wall. Try and really lock that shoulder blade in there, not allowing the chest to drop as we're doing the movement there as well, okay? Stabilising through that left arm for Kaitlyn there, okay, punching through the left leg, right arm as well there, keeping the low back and the glutes engaged. Great stuff, okay, so now Kaitlyn's going to flip herself around. She's going to extend through her right leg, and also right arm as well. She's going to have elbow on the knee, and she's going to be punching up and just driving up through that left hip, okay? So all the way up there and back down, okay? Back down on the knee, great stuff, pushing through. Okay, we're going to just speed those reps up a little bit more, just working harder through, trying to get as much glute activation through that left hip as she's driving up into that position as well there, okay? Again, this is really working through the upper, the shoulder on her right side there. By even just putting that compression through the shoulder joint, she's activating the rotator cuff, she's activating the deltoid muscles as well there. Okay, trying to keep those hips up as well when she's doing it, not allowing the low back or the hips to drop as she tires, okay? Great stuff, and then we'll do the same on the other side, okay? So same thing, just coming through, okay, driving up, good, driving through the hips on that side as well, trying to get as much extension through the hips, okay, pushing through with the arm there, whilst also controlling. So you can see on Kaitlyn's left arm that she's just struggling a bit with the stability on that side, which is why her press-ups are so average. But you can see there that she's pushing through, she's not bending that left elbow at all. That elbow is staying completely straight, and she's just pivoting through the shoulder as she's doing the movement pattern there as well. How many is that, Kaitlyn?
9.
Good. Okay, so 3 more repetitions. And coming back in, great stuff. Okay, so now we're going to go into single leg RDL, guys. Okay, so we'll do the last exercise, then we'll have a quick water break, all right? So again, when we're doing this, we'll start now, and we're just going to go through perfect, okay? So you can see there that Kaitlyn's left knee is slightly flexed, so she's not hyperextending through the knee at all. She's keeping the stability through the left leg, she's keeping the hips facing forwards. She's got a really nice reach through there, she's lengthening through the spine, and she's keeping her knee relatively straight as well, that back leg, toes pointing down. So she's technique is spot on, okay? So this is a good one also for strength, particularly around the glutes, the lower leg, but also really working on the stability as well. So stability through the core, but also through the hips. Good, and we'll change sides, okay? So same thing coming through there, great stuff, reaching through, excellent, good. And as I said, just work towards 12 reps if you can. If you struggle after 8 reps, absolutely fine. You can have a break there. Even if you find that you need to reset yourself as well, it's better that you focus just on the quality of the movement when you're doing it, as opposed to the number of repetitions.
That's 9.
Good. So 3 more reps there. Keep working hard, guys, okay? Good. Last one. Great stuff. Well done. Okay, all right, so guys, just take on some water if need be. I'll just show you a couple of progressions of the exercises that we've been doing as well, okay? So we'll have a 30-second break. We're now going to just have our mini band if we've got one at home. If you've just got a standard band, just tie it around the legs. Okay, if you haven't, don't worry too much about this, okay? We're going to take ourselves back down into that quadruped position, and now we're going to do exactly the same movement, but we're now using that mini band as well, okay? So that's just going to fire up our hip muscles, particularly our glutes, that little bit more as we have the resistance around the legs, okay? So then that's for exercise number 1. We'll do the same both sides. Exercise number 2, we've got our 2 hand weights, okay? So same thing, okay? Now just having a little bit more external load coming through as we just then start to just punch up to the sky as well, okay? And then number 3 is going to be using our weights as we just start to perform our single leg RDL as well. So still same hand as we come down, so opposites, okay? But then we're just going to hold and come back through with the weights there as well, okay? So let's go through exercise number 1. So band around legs, okay, back into just working on our bird dog, so we'll come through. So there, good, coming through, good, and just quickly punching through those repetitions, okay? And again, the key thing is just keeping the low back engaged, not allowing yourself to sag through. Quite often with this, if you're weaker through the hips or the core, again, just having that band on will just push the glutes, which will cause the low back to drop in as well. So you really want to just try and keep the core muscles fully switched on, fully engaged when you're doing it as well there. Okay, so Kaitlyn's keeping her back leg really straight there, which is great as well, and that front arm punching through. And we'll do the same on the other side, guys, so change sides and work through again your 12 reps. Try and just make sure that you keep the toes pointing towards the floor as you push through there as well. Okay, and that will just activate just the hip muscles that bit harder as we do it. Okay, and again, just if we're finding that we're dropping through the trunk, just try and lift our chest up again, keeping the chest close to the shoulder blade as well there when we're doing it. And we should start to feel just a burn through that front arm as we're stabilising through that side. Yeah, great stuff. Okay, so band off. Okay, we're now going to go into second exercise. We're going to hold our hand weights. If it's a water bottle that you've got at home, absolutely fine. Okay, and we're just simply going to just work through same thing. Okay, so just in that position, again driving up. Okay, so really try and drive up through the hip. That's it, as best you can. Okay, keeping the elbow completely straight there as we're doing it as well. And just working through using the shoulder as the fulcrum, and also that right leg as well. Yeah, good, and just punching up there. Okay, and again, it's a really good stability exercise for the shoulder, activating all of the different muscles, the deltoids, the rotator cuff through the shoulder as well there. Yeah, and when you're doing it, as Kaitlyn's doing there, just following your eyes, looking at the weights as you push up there. And again, just working through, okay? And we'll change sides, okay, guys? Good. And coming up, good. Try and just get a little bit more hip extension there, good. Pushing through. How are you feeling, Kaitlyn?
Yeah, good.
Yeah. Good. And working through. Good. And then just with that left leg or the straighter heel, just drive the heel down into the ground as well so you can pivot yourself up on it. So keep it going as well at home, guys. I can see that Kaitlyn's starting to just tire a little bit. Okay, it's a hard exercise, but it's actually fantastic because it works both the upper body, but also the lower body, the hip muscles as well as we're doing it there as well. Great stuff, well done, okay? So we're going to go back into the single leg RDL now, but Kaitlyn's going to use the weights this time just as a bit more of a load as we go through. Okay, so she's just going to hold the weights in the same hand as the standing leg. Yeah, that's great. And then just keeping the same thing with the arms, just punching down. Okay, good. And then that's perfect, and coming back through. And that's where you can start to just add as much weight as you want to. But the key thing I always say with this is just make sure that you keep the form good there as well. So with Kaitlyn, she's just letting that arm just drop down. So that's if you're holding the weights in your left hand at home, guys, just making sure that that left shoulder stays loose and floppy, and the weights just really just hang down. Good, but you're still doing the same thing of just using the right arm or the opposite arm to drive forward, so you keep the spine as long as you possibly can when you're doing it as well. Okay, and again for Kaitlyn, she's doing really well. She's keeping that left knee relatively straight as she's doing the movement pattern. Okay, so same thing just on the other side, keeping the, if you're at home, just keep the arm that you're holding the weights in just really relaxed, so let the weights hang down. Okay, driving through that right hip, okay, and almost getting a slight bit of whip as you bring the extended leg back down to the starting position as well. Okay, so you should start to feel maybe a burn through the glutes as we're doing this exercise, particularly on the standing leg as well. And you want to just keep that back completely straight there. So if you do find that you wobble, just feel free to reset yourself. You can even just touch onto, say, a wall or something, or use like a bench or a chair leg, just to give you a little bit more support to the side of you, which if you're struggling with sort of stabilising the stability through the hip itself. Great stuff. Okay, so round 2 is over, guys. Feel free to take on some water. Okay, and then we're going to go into round 3. Okay, so again, this is a little bit more harder. Kaitlyn's great at demonstrating this one. So again, depending on how you feel, okay, so we've been in this quadruped position. We're now going to just take the knees up when we're doing it. Okay, so we're into sort of a bear crawl type position, and we're going to be just working on opposites in that position there, coming back down. We're just going to go with 8 repetitions on this, okay, and then we'll do the same on the other side. So just extending up and back down as we're doing the movement pattern. Yep, we're going to stick with doing the same thing for the reverse bridge, so driving up, just keeping the weight there as well. And then for the single leg RDLs, what we're going to do is just add a slight tempo within it as well. So we're going to just keep ourselves here, just coming down, holding it for 3, 2, 1, now a little bit longer, and then whipping up and back and through. Okay, so let's go through exercise number 1. Okay, and again, 8 repetitions. If you're struggling with this, absolutely fine. You can reverse to the previous one with the mini band. Okay, so now just in that position, and then we're going to go through. So really tough on the legs, tough on the trunk. Okay, to stabilise. Kaitlyn's doing a fantastic job there of working through it. Okay, it's really working the control. You can see there that her back is completely straight when she's doing it as well. Yep, she's working hard now, and she's but the form was really, really good there. Yep, so same thing, so in that bear crawl position, extending through both sides, taking a lot more weight through the left shoulder. She's having to work hard to stabilise. If you do find yourself dropping down, just drop down with the arm, and then you can simply just reset yourself as well there. But this is fantastic, and you can see that she's getting really good hip extension as well as she's doing the movement pattern there. Yeah, great stuff. Well done, Kaitlyn. Excellent. So now back on to round 2. What we may even do is just show you a variation with a kettlebell. Of this one. So now we're just going to up the weight a little bit more. Again, if you've got any other hand weights at home, absolutely fine. We're just going to show you how to do it with the kettlebell. So Kaitlyn's holding that. She's balancing the kettlebell now on the back of her wrist. This is just relatively light one, a 4 kg one, but you can see there that she's having to work a bit harder to either stabilise that kettlebell, and we want to now make sure that we're really extending through that arm so the hand is in line with the shoulder as we're doing it as well. That's it, that's great. So you've got to work a bit harder on the hip extension now to keep the hand in line with the shoulder as we're doing it. So again, she's doing well. She's driving up through the hips. She's probably just arching the low back a little bit as she's starting to fatigue, so try and keep the core muscles engaged, core muscles switched on as we're doing it there. Yeah, but she's still doing a very, very good job maintaining that technique as well. Yeah, great job, well done, Kaitlyn, excellent stuff. Okay, and then we're going to go into same thing on the other side now. So driving up, okay, through that side. There we go, good. Okay, coming back down, good. Yep, so we're starting to bring in the shoulder muscles a lot more. We're now bringing into the triceps, the back of the arm muscles as we're working on that extension. And we're working on the stability of the shoulder as well. You can see that with the kettlebell for Kaitlyn, she's starting to shake around the shoulder as well as she's working through that great stuff. Okay, so again, we're just finding out a bit more about Kaitlyn's upper body strength. How many is that? Is that your 8?
That's 9.
Good job. Okay, so if you're struggling with it, then revert back to without the hand weight there. So Kaitlyn's got a couple more.
One more.
And back in.
You got this.
Great stuff, well done. Okay, so now from there we're going to go into our single leg RDL. Kaitlyn's going to now use the kettlebell, so add a little bit more weight as well. Okay, and we're going to just give it a hold for a few seconds and then come up as well. So yeah, perfect. And we'll just go through 8 repetitions of this. Okay, so coming down, good, extending through. That's it. Nice 3-second hold there. Kaitlyn's keeping the stability through the pelvis as she's doing it, and then she's coming up and through as well, okay? Keeping that back leg relatively straight there as she's doing it, lengthening through the spine as well. Good, and we'll keep it going. Yep, so just as you're starting to fatigue as well, guys, just really focus on the form, okay? Make every rep count as you're doing it. The key principles like we talked about are arm extending through, elbow straight, keeping the back or the spine as long as possible, and extending through that back leg as well, okay? Yeah, and it's Kaitlyn's time. We're just going to go with the 8 repetitions on this one.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's great. Yep, so technique is looking really good there. She's maintaining it really quite nice as she's doing the movement pattern.
Oh, last one.
Last one. Great stuff. Fantastic, guys. Okay, so yeah, well done. So first round of 3 exercises is through. Again, take on some water if need be, and we're going to go through the second cycle of exercises. Okay, so I'll give you a demonstration first of all. So first one is, again, we'll work through 8 repetitions. Okay, we're just going to work on just coming down into a squat. So similar to what we've done with the warm-up, we're going to go 8 reps, 3 seconds, a couple of second holds as we go down there. Exercise number 2 is going to be what we call a dead bug variation. So this is much more activating the core muscles at the front, the hip flexors, but also the shoulders as well. So we're just going to start with legs on the ground, okay, and then just simply working just opposites, okay? So if my right arm goes away, my left arm goes down, we're going to go through 8 repetitions coming through, okay? And we're coming back into that starting position, keeping the leg at a 90 degree, or the knee and the hip at a 90 degree angle, okay? 8 repetitions each side as we do it. And the third exercise is going to be onto what we call just like a single leg squat, but we're going to do a star motion. So really working through the hip muscles, okay? We're going to just work on just coming through, okay? Working on 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and then 6 o'clock, okay? And then we'll do the same, we'll repeat that 3 times through either side, okay? That's one cycle, and then we'll show you the progressions as well. So the first exercise now is going into the squat movement pattern, okay? So just working through 8 repetitions, coming down, good, and back up, okay? So key thing is when you're doing this exercise as well is you should be able to wobble the toes because your body weight should be back on the heels. You should keep the low back again as flat, and the movement should come through the hips and essentially through the knees as Kaitlyn's doing the movement pattern there as well. So coming down, because of what we've been doing at the start of the session, she's got good thoracic or upper back extension, yeah, and she's able to sit into the squat quite nicely compared to me when I did it. I was quite stiff. So now we're going to go into our dead bug. So Kaitlyn's going to just have both arms directly up in front of her. She's going to have the right knee up. Good, so just in that position there, that's great, okay, and then she's going to just work on that extension through there, coming back in, okay, and we're simply going to just work through 8 reps. Now, sometimes what you'll find is when you're doing this, if you're weaker through the core muscles, you'll find that you just start to arch through the low back as well as you extend through the knee. So this is quite a good starting point. Or if you wanted to take it back a stage further, you would just work on the legs and keep the arms where they are as well. You may find that if you are a bit weaker through the trunk and you lack some control, you start to click through the low back, and that's where you need to make sure that you're regressing the exercise so you've got that good stability. And what we say with this is trying to keep the low back flat on the bed, or flat on the mat rather, as we're doing the exercises. So sometimes that comes quite naturally, other times you have to actively engage the core muscles and really switch them on to produce the movement. Great stuff, Kaitlyn, okay? So exercise number 3 now is going into our half start. So Kaitlyn's going to stand up, we'll go through the first cycle, we're going to go through 3 cycles through. Okay, we're going to be on the left side, okay, that's great, arms in front, and then we're going to just work on just trying to just push those legs out, so a little bit further there with Kaitlyn, good, and coming back, good, and then back into the 6 o'clock, okay, so we're going for 12, good, 1 o'clock, okay, we'll go to 3, good, we'll go to 4, and then we'll come back in and go to 6, okay, and one more cycle through, okay, so there we go, just try and reach out with that front leg a little bit more as well. There we go, there's the 4 and then back to 6, okay, bringing ourselves up and now changing sides, okay. Now same thing, so just squatting down, that's great, okay. Now we're going to do the opposite movement pattern, still working on the stability around on the standing leg, okay. So again, for Kaitlyn the most important thing is she's not allowing the knee to collapse inwards as she's doing the movement pattern on that standing leg, and she's just stabilising the hips, stabilising through the knee. If the knee collapses inwards, then the likelihood is that you've got some weakness around the hips themselves, okay? So this is the last cycle through, good, and back in. Great technique, okay, fantastic. All right, so round 2 now. So variation of the squat, we're now going to start to use our mini bands, okay? And we may just add a little bit a little bit of weight to it as well, okay? So I'll let Kaitlyn put on the mini band again, take on some water if you're going to be, sorry Kaitlyn. Yep, so band, we're going to go band around the thighs, yep, and now we're going to just add our small hand weights as well, okay, so Kaitlyn did really well in terms of pushing the arms out. We're going to do the same thing now, just using those hand weights. So the feet are going to be a little bit further apart, that's great, okay, and now we're pushing out on that band, keeping the body weight on the outside half of our feet as we're doing the movement pattern, okay, coming down, pushing on that band, okay, that's going to just switch on the glutes that little bit more as we're doing the movement there as well. So Kaitlyn's doing really well. The weights are actually quite good because they help you counteract and enable you to sit down into that squat movement pattern that little bit more, okay, and as I said, the band will just activate the glutes a bit harder as well. So keeping the body weight back onto the heels, you should be able to wiggle the toes at the front as well, which means that you are sitting back correctly. If you're struggling with that, then the likelihood is that your ankles may be stiff, or you may actually be just quite tight through your upper back, which is preventing you from that position. Yep, great stuff, okay. So next cycle 3 is going to be our dead bug. So now what we're going to do is now we're going to take the band off, good, and we're going to just work on sling activation. So Kaitlyn's going to have both legs in the air, which is great. She's going to be with her left hand placed pushing down on her right knee and vice versa, pushing up with the left leg, and then she's going to be coming through. So this is a nice progression because the fact that she's pushing down on the knee with her hand, she's naturally activating her core muscles, particularly her what we call oblique sling, and which is providing her with more stability as she's doing the movement, and then she's able to take the leg back as well as the arm. And we're just going to go through 8 repetitions of this. Take your time with it at home as well, guys, okay? Again, like I said previously, that's the great stuff, okay? Like I said previously, okay, we don't want the low back to sag at all, so the hips to drop forwards and the low back to arch. We need to keep it engaged and switched on, and we shouldn't be experiencing any pain at all when we're doing this exercise. If we're finding that we're getting low back pain, then that's a real opportunity to come into the clinic and let us assess you and find out what the drivers are for that as well, okay? So Kaitlyn's done really, really well there. Back into now, yep. Now we're using the band for the single leg squat into the star movement. So now we're just going to fire the glutes up a little bit more. So Kaitlyn's doing really well. She's on the wobble mat as well as she's doing it. And we're just going to touch down. That's it, just working through. Okay, coming through, just stabilising. Good, and coming back in. Okay, 3 cycles through again. Controlling the knees. Okay, holding it for a couple of seconds. And the key thing is when we're doing this here, we're not trying to put loads of our weight down onto that leg that we're standing on. We're just, or that we're stepping out on. We're just simply toe touching as we put the leg down and then bringing it back to the middle. 1 more cycle on that side. Okay, good. Okay, just keep it going there, guys. Okay, keep the hips switched on. Okay, keep the pelvis facing forwards as we're doing it. Okay, don't twist through the pelvis. And we'll change sides as well. Okay, so just come down into that single leg squat, find the position, and then use that left leg to really just work on stabilising through there as well. Okay, so Kaitlyn's doing a fantastic job there. Just slow it down a little bit for this last cycle through. Okay, just toe touching down as we do the movement pattern. Good, coming back in and then back again. Great stuff, well done. Okay, so Kaitlyn's going for 1 more cycle through, guys, so you can do it at home, that's fine.
Oh my god, I lose count.
And then last one, good. Great stuff, coming back through. All right, so bands off now, so we are going into, we're going squat jumps, aren't we? So last one, so we're now going to go into our squat jumps. We'll use the weight actually as well, and we'll go with just having the weights just around us here. So take on some water, guys. Kaitlyn's going to give you a quick demonstration, or I'll give you a quick demonstration. We're just going to use our hand weights, and now our progression, our last round through, is going to be now just in this position, coming down into our squat, and then coming up, okay, and then landing it, okay. So just coming down, and then stabilising through here. 8 repetitions, using our hand weights. If you've got a kettlebell or something heavier at home, by all means do so. And then we'll go through the next dead bug variation as well, okay? So, you're right there, Kaitlyn?
Yeah.
last cycle through, okay? So, feet shoulder width apart, okay? We're going to have the weight in a deadlift position. We're going to squat down first of all. Legs a little bit further apart there, so wide feet, and then jumping up, good. Stabilising for a couple of seconds at the bottom there, and then coming up, okay? So, again, just keep your body weight on the outside of your feet as you're doing the movement pattern. Okay, still driving through the toes as well. Through the heels as we're doing it.
Okay.
Done it? Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. So weight back down. Okay. Now we're going to go through to the full dead bug position. So Kaitlyn's going to go onto her back. We're now going to go with perfect. So knees at right angles, hips at right angles, and we're now just going to extend through both sides. Okay. So Kaitlyn's doing a fantastic job there. She's really engaging the core. She's, again, like what we talked about, making sure that we're not shifting at all through the low back as we're doing the movement pattern. But she's demonstrating really good control as she's doing it. So you should start to now feel the abdominals, the core, the trunk muscles really working hard, maybe fatiguing, but also fatiguing through the front of the hips as well, because we're activating not only the trunk but also the hip flexors as we're doing the movement pattern as well there. Yeah. Keep it going, guys. Only a few more repetitions left and then we're done. How are we doing there, Kaitlyn?
Last one. Cool.
Good job. Okay, so last exercise. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to use our mini band, and we're going to just go with a half star. Okay, we're going to have hold our hand weights as well, and to make it a little bit more tricky, we're also now going to just do a slight hold. Okay, so we're coming back and forward. So for Kaitlyn, we're going to move the mat forward slightly just there, just to give her, make it slightly easier for her. So she's going to hold that position, okay, arms out in front, good, and then just working through, perfect. So we've got our weights there. She's just trying her best not to touch down if she's doing the movement pattern. She's got the bass, great, okay, and she's coming through, but she's still maintaining good control there as well. So just using the mini band should fire up the glutes that little bit more as we're doing the movement pattern. Yeah, and we're just still working through, and we're preventing that front knee from dropping down. Okay, we're keeping one more. So we're keeping the left knee really aligned with the hip and with the ankle. Where are you feeling that, Kaitlyn?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I love
So last cycle through. Okay, so Kaitlyn's done really well. Last one through, keeping the knee, the foot, the hip, and the knee aligned. Good, she's got really good control there. She's loading herself up a little bit more with the upper body as she's doing it, and she's still able to smile as she's doing the exercise.
Just.
Just coming through. Great stuff. Okay, so you should start to feel those glutes really burning as you're doing the movement pattern. Last cycle through. Good. Okay, keeping the low back switched on, keeping the core muscles engaged. Okay, so this is a great exercise for running, cycling as well. Great stuff. Well done, Kaitlyn. Brilliant. Okay, guys, so feel free to take on some water. Okay, we're now going to just start to, as we talked about, just start to slow the system down. Okay, so done really well there. That's a hard 2 circuits. Kaitlyn's obviously been working very, very hard. We've warmed the muscles up, and now it's our opportunity to actually just create more muscle length. But we're going to focus on that with good breathing control as well. So we're going to just work on, first of all, just going into a pigeon stretch, which is going to stretch through the hips, just because we've done a lot of work through the hips. So Kaitlyn's going to demonstrate this. So perfect. So one leg forwards, that's it, and you're going to extend that back leg back as far as you can there as well, Kaitlyn. Great stuff. And then roll yourself over onto it as well. That's it. Great. Okay. So Kaitlyn's just going to hold that position, and she's going to just focus on just taking some deep breaths in, relaxing into it. She could probably, because of she's quite mobile, she could probably take herself down just onto the floor a bit more, taking herself off of her elbows as well. So as you breathe and as you exhale, then take yourself that bit further. And it could be as well that you're with the left leg, you're just pushing that back leg out, twisting the leg round a little bit more as well. Okay, so not so much through the knee bending, but just rolling the hips over, round into that position there as well, okay? Slow the breathing down now, okay? Focus on the breathing, guys at home. Focus on getting it back under control as well. And now we're going to change sides. So Kaitlyn's going to switch the legs around. She's going to bring the left leg forwards, right leg back, okay? You can see there that now she's fully extended through that hip. She's dropping the thoracic spine just down into the movement, and she's just slowing that system down, getting everything under control. And when she breathes out the next time, she's going to just drop off of the elbows and move just down a little bit further there as well. Great stuff. And then for you guys at home as well, just with that back leg, just rotate that leg round, okay, so you get more of a stretch through the leg itself there as well, okay? So we're going to come out of that position now into our Bretzel stretch. So Kaitlyn's going to just roll herself onto her side. So just if we go onto her left side, yeah, great stuff. She's going to bring that left leg back, so perfect. Okay, she's going to lock that front hip in. That's great. And again, we're focusing on breathing as well. So as we exhale through the Bretzel stretch, she's going to rotate and just create a bit more length through the thoracic spine as well as she's doing the movement pattern there. So dropping into it, 3 deep breaths, holding it for a couple of seconds, okay, and then essentially we're going to change sides and do the same thing as well, okay? Good. Good, same thing, just dropping through there as well. Yep, so this is much more focused on stretching through the quadriceps, through the hip flexors at the front, but also through the hips and then also through the trunk as well. Good job. Okay, so last one is we're going to do is go into our hamstring stretch. So we're going to just have hand behind the back of the leg. Kaitlyn's going to extend her other leg. Again, she's going to just push through that heel as she does it. So when we're doing the movement pattern, we should make sure that the heel stays locked in on that straight leg there as well. And again, just slowing it down, just working on creating more muscle length through the hamstrings. Now, you could also do some foam rolling through the hamstrings, through the hip flexors, quads, etc. At the back end of your session, which will just prevent too much of a build-up of lactic acid, but also just help them when you go into your stretches as well. Okay, and we're going to change sides. Good. And then coming through, okay, and again, just exhale as you produce the movement. Okay, trying to work on that full knee extension as you're doing it there as well. That's it, great stuff. Last one. Good job. Fantastic. Okay, so first of all, thank you, Kaitlyn. So great workout again. Guys, I hope you enjoyed it at home. we're putting lots of good content up on our Square One Connect, which is our YouTube channel, and you can find out more about that through our website. So www.squareonephysio.com.au, and then you'll see Square One Connect on there. You can click through and you'll start to see a library of programs that we're putting together, both from a performance perspective but also through Pilates as well. So feel free to check out our website where you can find more about what we're offering, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week. Cheers.